Intransigent. EU have the jitters shaking like a leaf when UK putting the screw with Article 16 blow. June 23, 2021 marked 5 years to the day since the people of the United Kingdom voted in a referendum to leave the European Union. Today, the UK is outside the EU and mostly no longer subject to its rules, but only after a titanic political struggle both at home and with the bloc itself. For better or worse, some of the changes both hoped for and feared are beginning to take shape. But the story is far from over. The post-Brexit UK-EU relationship, tetchy to say the least in the months since new arrangements kicked in for real, is under severe strain. Differences still rage over terms covering Northern Ireland, just as they plagued the tortuous divorce process. There has been concern that the prolonged, acrimonious process, compounded by the pandemic and its economic fallout, has shifted attention from major global challenges, not least the climate emergency. Currently, tensions continue to escalate with conflicts related to Article 16. The EU is growing increasingly fearful about the escalation of the explosive Brexit row with the UK, centred around the implementation of the Northern Ireland Protocol. Britain has continued to insist large parts of the trade mechanism must be completely overhauled in order for it to work effectively, demands the EU has so far strongly refused to cave to. Intensive talks over recent days between the two sides over the issue have collapsed, increasing the chances of the UK losing patience and triggering Article 16. This gives each side the power to suspend certain parts of the agreement it deems no longer viable for economic, social or environmental reasons. But German publication Focus Online has now said Mr. Johnson's hand is said to hover over the red button. Bernd Lang, the chairman of the European Parliament's Trade Committee, fears the UK could follow through with its threat following a meeting between the UK's Brexit Minister Lord Frost and European Commission Vice President Maroš Šefčovič in Brussels on Friday. He said, "Rumours are growing that the British government will resort to this remedy this Friday after another meeting between EU negotiator Maroš Šefčovič and UK negotiator David Frost." But Mr. Lang warned that if such a scenario was to happen, serious consequences are being discussed in Brussels. This could potentially lead to the suspension of further agreements between the UK and EU, as well as the possibility of a potentially devastating trade war between the two sides. During months of tense and often bitter post-Brexit trade deal talks last year, the two sides were only able to avoid a potentially devastating no-deal outcome with an agreement at the 11th hour. Reports about the threat of a hardening of the soft Brexit have seen many from within the EU preparing for the worst-case scenario. Anna Cavazzini, who is chairwoman of the European Parliament's Internal Market Committee, said, "Unfortunately, we are back to the dynamics of 2019 with threats of failure of the talks and heated rhetoric on the British side. On the EU side, everyone is rolling their eyes and preparing for the worst-case scenario." On Wednesday, members of the House of Lords told a Dáil committee a no-deal Brexit will be back on the table if the UK decides to trigger Article 16 of the Protocol. Lord J. of Elm, chair of the House of Lords Subcommittee on the Protocol on Ireland/Northern Ireland, warned such a move from Britain would risk resetting negotiations and cold result in a no-deal outcome. He said, "I agree with you very much on what to say about the risks of Article 16 being imposed or being triggered and the response to Article 16 by the European Union, potentially leading to all the complicated negotiations with the prospect of a no-deal as the last stage. The other end of the spectrum, which I think we can't rule it out, and I certainly wouldn't want to rule out, although I must say that the prospects are not looking brilliant at the moment, is for a negotiated settlement to be reached between now and Christmas or over Christmas. I don't think we can rule that out.